What's up, guys? It's Matt here with Tanks Lawn Maintenance. It is currently 8:07 a.m. Tuesday morning, October the 7th, 2025, year of our Lord. It's a beautiful day, man. Absolutely gorgeous day. Bluebird sky. It's 65 degrees right now. It's very humid outside. Got quite a bit of rain yesterday, but it's all good. We were able to get the route finished yesterday. It was right at dark before I got finished. And I think I didn't get home till 8:30 because I had some stuff to dump and all that good stuff too. I got hiccups, guys, and it's about to drive me insane. But anyway, I want to holler at some of you new cats out there, man. Some of you guys that are thinking about breaking into the business, or either have broke into the business, but you don't really know a whole lot yet. You don't really. And I don't claim to know a whole lot either, but I do have a few years under my belt, and some stuff I do know. And but anyway, the first thing I want to talk about is there's a guy approached me Saturday morning. I was putting down some pine straw in a customer's yard, and he approached me and asked me, he hadn't been doing this long. I think he told me he got into it in May, and this is his first summer, and he asked me, he just bought his commercial mower like 2 weeks ago. He bought his first commercial mower. And I want to say it was a Gravely Pro Turn. I think that's what it is. It's a Gravely something, but it was a commercial mower, and I think it was a Pro Turn. I don't know. Don't really know a whole lot about Gravely's. But it's a 48-inch deck, I think is what he told me. And but anyway, he asked me, he said, I started out with a Cub Cadet lawn tractor and just a Honda push mower, and he still had the Honda push mower, and he had been mowing some properties. He's mowed a few properties with the with the Gravely, and but he told me, he said, man, before I bought this mower, I've never had a zero turn mower. I don't know much about them, and he said, I've noticed that I'm tearing a whole lot of grass out of the ground. I'm leaving just dirt spots on the ground when I'm mowing the grass every time I turn. And he asked me, he said, what's causing that? And I told him, I said, them zero turn mowers and, stand-on mowers, they're basically the same way. I've never driven a walk-behind mower, so I don't know about those. But the standers and the zero turns, they're basically the same thing. And, if you've never driven one before, it can kind of be overwhelming, a little bit overwhelming. And they can be pretty tricky when you're first learning. When you the secret to those things is you've got to keep both drive tires turning at all times when you're driving one. So when you go to make that T-turn, that 3-point turn to go down your next stripe, you've got to keep that inside wheel turning, because if you don't, if it's stopped and you're turning, what it's doing is it's twisting on top of the grass, and it's not moving forward. It's just twisting. And what that does, it pulls the grass out of the ground, and it'll grow back, but it's ugly. You get what I'm saying? Now, in the summertime, when grass is growing rapidly, you can get away with it. Early spring, it's a little bit uglier in the early spring, but the grass is going to grow back here pretty soon. Now, this time of year, you can't be doing that. You've got to be careful this time of year, because if you do that this time of year, that grass is going to look like that until April. So, you got to be careful with those machines. And until you get good at it, I did this, I started out with the Spartan RZC, I think is what it was, Spartan RZC 42. Anyway, it's a Spartan sit-down machine. Is the zero turn I started with. It was my very first zero turn, and yeah, when I first bought it, I was a little bit overwhelmed. I'd never driven a zero turn before, and it was kind of tricky learning how to do it. And dude, I tore my yard up, trying to learn how to do it in my yard. And went out to my mother-in-law's property, tore that yard up too, and I just couldn't figure it out. And there's a channel called Lawn Care Life. It's a man named Jason Creel down in Alabama. He's a weed and fertilizer company, and but he used to cut grass too. And I think it was him that said it. Take a few pounds of pressure out of those drive tires. Okay, what it will do, it will soften the tires up That way, there's a little bit more forgiveness, and those bare spots don't look as bad when you rip grass out of the ground. You're not going to rip nowhere near as much out. Now, the flip side to that is when you take a few pounds of pressure out of your tires, you need to check your deck height, okay? When you measure your blade height, if it does not add up to what the machine is telling you is, you need to adjust that deck to where it does add up to what that machine is telling you it is. So if you're lowering your deck down to 3 inches and it's actually sitting down at 2.5 or 2 3/4 or whatever, you need to adjust it to 3 inches. That way you don't risk scalping lawns, because your drive tires are one of the main factors that control the cut quality on your mower. So, but yeah, you know, keep both tires turning, especially that inside tire when you're making a turn. That'll cut out ripping grass out of the ground altogether. And but until you get good at it, until you get comfortable with that machine and you can do it in your sleep, let 3 or 4 pounds of pressure out of that machine, out of those tires, and adjust your deck height, and it will give you a little bit of forgiveness, I guess you could say, when you do rip grass out of the ground. But yeah, that's the first thing. The second thing is, I had a customer ask me yesterday, when is his final cut going to be? And I kind of looked at him funny, you know, because the grass is still growing. I mean, it's slowed down, but it's still growing. I just looked at him kind of funny, and the reason I looked at him that way is because I thought we went over this at the beginning of the season. Matter of fact, I'm 90% sure we did. This guy, I've noticed that this guy doesn't take everything in when you tell it to him. But anyway, the way I normally do it is, and this goes for all of you too, you should start doing this too. Whenever you do a walk around with a property and a customer picks you up, you need to tell them up front, you know, we're going to start on this date and we're going to end as soon as this happens, okay? My start date here in the state of Georgia, East Central Georgia, with the types of grass we have here, I start that first Monday in March. The first full week in March is when I start cutting grass. And I tell all my customers I'm going until 2 things happen. 2 things have to happen. All the leaves have to be mulched up, and the first frost has to happen. And I tell you that because the first frost is what throws Bermuda grass into dormancy. 90% of the grass in my area is Bermuda. We do have other grasses, but it's mainly Bermuda. So the first frost is what throws my grass into dormancy, okay? After that first frost, cut it one last time, then the grass is good for the year, okay? Now, leaves, all right? I don't want leaves on the property. And I say that because 90% of the time, these customers, especially customers you had the year before, they're used to paying 70, 80, 90 bucks to get their grass cut. You come out there during the spring, there's leaves all over the property. It's going to take you an hour and a half, 2 hours to mulch all them leaves up. You've got to charge them however much you're charging per man hour to mulch those leaves up, okay? You can't just do that for the same amount of price, for the same amount of money that you are cutting their grass for, because it's going to take longer. You just can't do that. And at that point, it turns into a spring cleanup. And a lot of times those customers don't understand that. I don't understand. I just want my grass cut. You know, you were cutting it for 80 bucks last year. Why are you charging me 105 this year? Why are you charging me 140 this year? I don't get it. They don't understand that it's just going to be that first time to get the leaves cut. So come out until the leaves are done falling. That way you can make sure all the leaves are mulched up. There's nothing on the property. You're not going to have crap spots in the yard all winter long. You're not going to have leaves tangled up in the grass, matted up all over the place, looking like shit all winter long. And you're not going to have a discrepancy with the customer at the very beginning of the season. So if they don't have leaves on the property, no trees, okay? No leaves ever on the property, cut it until that first frost happens. Once that first frost happens, come out, flatten it out, put some marks on the yard, you're done for the year. Unless the customer wants you to come out and put stripes in the yard every month. Now, if there are leaves on the yard, make sure those leaves are mulched up. Make sure the first frost has happened. Make sure those lawns look good all year long. And once you're done, check on those properties once a month. Whether you're calling the customer to check in with them once a month, I prefer going by the property to physically put eyes on it to make sure that property's in good shape once a month. I do that. Yeah, you're going to spend a little more money doing that because of gas, but a lot of times if you see something on that property, you can reach out to the customer like, hey, I see you got this going on when I was out there checking everything out the other day. I can fix that problem for you for this. A lot of times that's a chance for you to turn some revenue because that customer, they just want it taken care of. They want it looking good all year long and whatever it takes. So put eyes on the customer, or put eyes on the property once a month. Mow from the first Monday in March till the first frost and the leaves are done falling. But anyways, guys, don't ever leave it up to the customer when it comes to that, because what's going to happen is that customer is going to call you at the end of April, the beginning of May. The grass is going to it's going to be overgrown. You're going to have to spend more time on it. You're going to have to charge the customer more money. And also, you're going to lose out on a week or two of revenue. And also, they're going to cut you off at the end of September because they think that since it's cooler at night, the days are getting shorter, and there hasn't been as much rain, they think that since the grass has slowed down, that it's done for the year. That's not the case. So, never leave it up to the customer, guys. Make the decision yourself. First Monday in March till the first frost and the leaves are gone. But anyway, hope y'all got something out of this. If you did, let me know. If not, that's cool too, man. If you disagree with me, just tell me what you would do differently, because hey, I'm all about learning myself. But look, I'll catch y'all on the next video. I got to get to the gas station and get me a honey bun and some drinks for the day. I'll catch y'all on the next video, man. But until then, y'all keep cutting that grass and keep making that money. I'll let y'all. Bye.